Warbucks marching mighty and bold, in our hearts our tales are told. When our slogan wild and pride, good times rhymes with war crimes. Helmets shine on the distant stars, treads of tanks and roaring cars. Through the smoke and through the mud, legs keep moving through the flood. Leg, 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 we chant, we cheer. The order of the leg is here. In the chaos, we're all in sync. Victory's glory is on the brink. From the trenches, our spirits soar. Warpugs know what we're fighting for. Every battle, every scar shows the strength of who we are on the brink. Awards and medals, chests so bright in the heat of the fiercest fight. Legs keep marching, never fade. Warpugs live by legend made. Leg, 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 we chant, we cheer. The order of the leg is here. In the chaos, we're all in sync. Victory's glory is on the brink. On the brink. From the trenches, our spirits soar. Warpugs know what we're fighting for. Every battle, every scar shows the strength of who we are on the brink. On the brink. Awards and medals, chests so bright in the heat of the fiercest fight. Legs keep marching, never fade. Warpugs live by legend made. Leg, 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 we chant, we cheer. The order of the leg is here. In the chaos, we're all in sync. Victory's glory is on the brink. Leg, 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 we chant, we cheer. The order of the leg is here. In the chaos, we're all in sync. Victory's glory is on the brink.
I did not forget.
Is on the brink.
Warpugs, it is time for us to resume BattleTech Tuesday. Now, BattleTech Tuesday is something that I was very happy to get started with, but, well, the holidays happen, guys, and there's two things I'm not going to mess with. I'm not going to mess with Christmas Eve and Day, and I'm definitely not going to mess with New Year's Eve, because if I mess with New Year's Eve, the hospitaler skins me. I'm not going to mess with that, guys. I'm not going to...
Why I skin you for New Year's Eve?
Because it's our anniversary. Why are you trying to pick a fight right now?
You want to fight me?
You hear this? This is what I put up with on a day-to-day basis. I leave it alone for a couple of seconds. Yeah, it's not good for one's health, Miss J. It's really not. What's up, Van? What's up, Van? Guys, we're back in for BattleTech Tuesday. Yeah, I'd put $20 on her too, Russell. Just to be honest with you. No, I'm not gonna win. Guys, I'm shaking up my drink here. I hope all of you had a wonderful holidays. I hope you had a great Christmas. I hope you had a great New Year's. This is the first non-shenanigans live stream of the year. I'm going to be doing a fair bit more this year as far as live stream goes. I think I'm going to be very, very happy about this. There's a lot in the long request. There's a lot in the long request list. There is a lot in the long request list. And for those of you who like hearing what the wife has to say, she's going to be starting up her own Supernatural channel pretty soon. Once she gets done with what she says she's going to do for the past 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks.
Power yesterday.
3 weeks, 4 weeks. We had power all those except for yesterday.
Well, I'm sorry, the rest of the house takes precedent.
I am broadcasting from the frozen tundra of West Virginia. Who else is stuck in frozen tundra right now? There's about 20 inches of snow outside. We lost power for Oh my God, we lost it we lost it at about 9:30 in the morning, and it didn't come back on until almost 2. It will 2 in the morning, yeah. So basically, almost a full day, just cold. But we are back up to 70 degrees. It is cold outside. Winter checked out this year for you. 0 snow all season so far. Well, Andrew, if you don't like snow, I hope you get a sprinkling that doesn't stick, just enough to where you're looking outside like, it's snowing, and you don't have to put up with any other crap. Guys, we're here for the Marauder, and it would be nice if it showed up, because I already tried to fix this. There we go. Clanker, what's up? We're here for the Marauder, guys. So, sit back, strap in. It's time to learn about apparently one of many people's favorite mechs in the entire setting. One that I know very little about. The main character, the best of the best, the Marauder, Red Hawk. I hear you. Let's jump right into it. So, here's what I'm going to do for BattleTech Tuesday from here on out, okay? I am going to figure out a way to put a poll in the Discord. And we're just going to hold a vote. So, if you're not in the Discord, check the links in the description down below for it. Let's get into it. Here we go. Never mind. The wife wants to make a public service announcement. This is Teddy. He is the mascot of BattleTech Tuesdays. He is also known as Caiaphas K9.
Oh.
Are we good now?
Loves his daddy.
Can I get to my thing here?
He loves his daddy.
Can I get to my thing?
Oh.
Can I?
No, look at that.
Look, they wanted to see BattleTech, not Battle Pup.
Oh, but he's
just a little boy. Oh God. Here, take him before he kicks my throat out. Pup does not stay. If wife walks out, Pup freaks out.
He is mama's boy.
Yeah. Okay, can I get started now?
Yeah, sorry if the cat's well, he's loose.
Right. Betty still hates him. I can't do anything about it. It is the dawn of the 27th century. Thanks to the Ares Convention, the great houses that turned war into a sport. It is now the age of the BattleMech. Kindness is hard. War is constant. Eager to make bank, General Motors decides to change the game by introducing the new Ford Escort. Never mind. Yes, 1980s. You gotta love it. There. Yes. There. Okay, now we got the synthesizer. We are pure 80s now. Featuring music by Goatbuster. Art by Illinois Rex. DC Bruins.
Do you want me to put her up?
Featuring ambient sound from Bitching Betty, also known as the War Crime Cat. What are you complaining about now?
Because you can see Teddy.
Come here, you. Come here. Okay, never mind then.
Want me to relocate her?
Yeah. Shut up.
No, you cannot sit on the modem.
Give me that.
Angry thing.
This is the sound of pure hatred.
She does not like the dog.
She hates anything that has 4 legs.
Yep, other cats, dogs, everything. If you can see them, she growls.
Yep.
Come on, you. Come on.
Yeah, it is the look of pure hatred. That cat hates everything. Fish won't work on her, Andrew. Hey, Omega. Yeah, that's the war crime cat.
Scrumbles, no like Scorpion. Smash.
Nice. Rent a nuke. Next left. I love it. Silent, dude, that's awesome. Dude, send me a message on Discord or send me an email. Just check for my business email. It'll send it right to me, bud.
Now that the civil defense matter has sorted itself out, let's
Dude,
continue
thanks.
with our
I'm gonna be
broadcast.
putting those up there.
I'm Mayor Barnabas Wilberson, and you're listening to Zanfont Free State Radio. The next song is dedicated to our brave militia.
What the hell was that? Hold on a second. What the hell was that?
Now that the civil defense matter has sorted itself out, let's continue with our broadcast. Remember, I'm Mayor Barnabas Wilberson, and you're listening to Zanfont Free State Radio. The next song is dedicated.
Why is it a pug? That's not right. That's not right. They're going to go commandeer something. That's what's going on here. This is a partnership.
To our brave militia.
Van Zant State Trooper. Christ. Discount Dan's, yes. Good God. Dead ahead, nice, Van Sam. Golden Corral, nice. But why do they have to mess with Discount Dan's?
Howdy there, folks.
Hi.
Please take your seats as we continue our lecture series as chosen by the student body last semester, or whenever we did that series of polls. If you even get the polls, that is, what with Comstar trying to throttle us. Anyways, after having covered the events and pivotal moments in history which shaped the Inner Sphere as we know it today, and along the way, dissected some of the okayest BattleMechs ever put into production,
The
we will
Blackjack.
now turn our attention toward one of the finest war machines mankind could ever hope for. Yes, this time around, we're diving deep on one of the Inner Sphere's most iconic mechs, the timeless classic of classics itself,
Okay.
the mighty Marauder.
I love the buffalo hats and bagpipes for the goddamn Black Watch! Preamble.
Please contain yourselves, because this is above all a history lesson, and naturally, we'll need to cover a few things before getting into the war machine itself.
Hey, Terry, what's up, bud?
Needless to say, the course of this lecture will provide an in-depth background and history primer on the Inner Sphere first, specifically regarding the years leading into Marauder development. This will serve as the necessary foundational knowledge in understanding not only how the Marauder came to be about, but why. From the years after the Mackey to the lead up to the Marauder's actual production, this lecture will provide an essential understanding in why this 75-ton war machine in particular plays such a central part in so much of our shared history, and most importantly, why it has earned its place as one of the definitive heavy mechs of the Inner Sphere and beyond. Our story begins with an exploration of the events which directly influenced development and production of the Marauder in order to give background to its meaning and story. Only once the background is set can we appreciate why the Marauder is so goddamn important.
25th and 26th centuries.
War
yes.
is a hell of a thing. So the saying goes. Fully industrialized warfare qualifies as a new kind of hell altogether. The madness of unlimited strategic warfare, backed by the full industrial output of the major houses of the Inner Sphere, was something completely new on the scale of human suffering. The maddening excesses of the 25th and 26th centuries had certainly left their mark on the Inner Sphere. That is to say, it had been an era of great upheaval and terrible conflict. That's what we in the history business tend to call the Age of War. And it certainly was that. It was a time of war, a time of chaos, of burning, of glassing planets, and sorting disputes with nukes. It was a time where borders shifted by the day, with the cow.
You know, there is something to be said for a world like that, because who doesn't want to drop a nuke on people that cut you off in traffic?
Casus belli was as simple as perceived threat or diplomatic insult, and war was the only viable way to sort things out. It was a time of such destruction that we still today aren't exactly clear on every detail, other than it was an age of war. Then, war was frequent, war was brutal, and even when later mitigated by the Ares Conventions, at the tail end of that era, it became even more acceptable as the standard means by which to solve any and all inter-house disputes. Where war was once a contest of destruction between nations hell-bent on destroying what they couldn't take outright, it transitioned with new rules, thanks to the Ares Conventions, to become a sport overnight. No more were war crimes.
Guys, are you guys hearing a background noise, a good bit of background noise? Is it like distracting or anything like that? Because this is the first time I haven't really. Okay, I just wanted to make sure, because I took something down in the room, and I just wanted to make sure that it wasn't, because I can see my headphone jangling a little bit, so just wanted to make sure it wasn't some, yeah.
The accepted
Shutting up, moving
quo. On. No more were civilian casualties just part of the allowable collateral damage calculations inflicted
Let me rewind
upon
this
a planet.
just a bit.
Ares Conventions to become a sport overnight. No more were war crimes the accepted status quo. No more were civilian casualties just part of the allowable collateral damage calculations inflicted upon a planet in the mad dash of conquest. Instead, it would be a very different game of capture the flag.
Yay!
Paid for in blood.
Oh.
But such was the era of the Ares Conventions. War, as previously stated, had changed. It was more of the same. By many means, though, tempered by agreed upon rules of engagement. In short, the Ares Conventions ensured that where worlds were once burned in the name of conquest, they would now be kept mostly whole when conquered, and then passed on to the victor in the next contest of military might.
And the reason they did this was not because of any sense of goodwill or, love for the fellow man. It's just that we got tired of rebuilding the pancake factory.
Well, for the most part, that is.
Yeah.
By my humble estimation, the Age of War was the first and most powerful crescendo in the history of the Inner Sphere. Humanity climbed to the precipice of annihilation and then stepped back for a breather at the very brink. But the Inner Sphere is, and has always been, a place of barely balanced military superpowers trying to find that perfect opening strike, that perfect place to land a decisive blow. So
Yay.
instead of giving up war altogether, the Inner Sphere merely tempered it by agreeing to a few, if basic, humanitarian rules. Rules like accepting surrender and not indiscriminately nuking everything because it was in the way. Rules like wearing standardized uniforms and not carpet bombing stuff because it looked at you funny.
But why not?
Rules that some ignored or selectively interpreted for their own gain. After all, Capellans are Capellans.
Capellans.
Some say the Age of War ends with the Ares Conventions, and I think that's a load of crap. I think the Age of War ends with the Maquis. In fact, I argue strongly that the next great chapter of Inner Sphere history assuredly begins with the rise and proliferation of the BattleMech as the weapon of weapons, which largely
Carpet
replaced
cleaning.
all of those massive warship fleets just waiting for the next reasonable escalation of force. The humble Maquis, which, while not war ready and essentially a walking prototype pushed into rapid production by the greed of the military-industrial complex, was accordingly an imperfect solution to the military stagnation of the Inner Sphere. But it did serve as an eternal reminder that war could still change. The Maquis proved that war was not a static concept. Much to the surprise of military planners of the era, the Maquis demonstrated that war had the capacity to surprise even the most entrenched battlefield doctrine hardliners. And as the new face of war, it succeeded in changing everything. In that way, and that way alone, the Maquis was perfect. This new technology,
Well, that's the first time I've heard of the Maquis called perfect so far, so there you go.
singularly suited toward breaking the stalemate of limited scale conflict as imposed by the Ares Convention.
Conquest just asked a great question. What invasions in 40K would cause the Waffle House to close? Well, no Chaos Invasion because it literally serves all four houses. It literally serves all four houses because where do you go when you've spent the night drinking and doing things you shouldn't? That's Clannish. You go to the Waffle House. Where do you go to find food that you really shouldn't eat because it's probably infested? The Waffle House. Where do you go to watch people have fights to the death? Waffle House. Where do you go when you change your mind every 15 seconds on the menu? Waffle House. Tyranids, because the Waffle House is always open and is always providing, so the Tyranids would not shut the Waffle House down. The Tau would find a way to rebrand it as an IHOP. Let's see. The Orcs would love the Waffle House because they can fight in it and nobody really cares. The Eldar would, the Eldar, any invasion by the Eldar would wipe out the Waffle House. They'd wipe out the Waffle House on general principle. I'm just saying. Waffle House would be a great chapter recruitment tool. Yes, it would, Omega. Yeah, that works.
Conventions set the ground for an era of rapid proliferation.
Necrons
in which
too, yeah.
Each house tried and succeeded in replicating the Maquis blueprints, and then in time, unlocking the secrets of its design process. This era of proliferation was a contest of industrial firms and vast economic powers vying for total supremacy on the terrestrial battlefield. With warships now relegated towards strategic defense considerations and fleets in being for any practical purpose, they were a dead end for development in a truly strategically neutered age, and thus began the age of the BattleMech, which I believe, again as argued, ends the Age of War quite neatly. New rules, new toys, new thinking, new heroes, same Inner Sphere, same problems, same outcome. And some morons will lift their pen and tell us that war is the hygiene of the world. But no, war is, as Clausewitz said, politics by any other means. By focusing on the Mackie, by trying to copy it, to emulate it, and then by manufacturing their own, each great house changed its war plans and industries to compete in a completely new arena, mech combat. In simple terms, this meant the age of the BattleMech was here to stay, and not just a passing fad in military technology.
Okay.
With every manufacturing firm with an interest in making fat stacks of cash, rapidly shifting priorities toward BattleMech research and development. It was a new age of proliferation, a new age of war, one that would change the fortunes of those brave enough to embrace it. But as history is full of these sorts of things, there was a warning, and I must repeat again, for history's sake, an age-old Terran saying: beware the military-industrial complex.
Yep.
In truth, that quote goes deeper than most would care to look. Spoken by a retired general and statesman governing an ancient nation-state on distant Terra, an outgoing ruler from the North American continent, had this to say on the same subject almost midway through the 20th century, when his nation was locked in an arms race with another for supremacy of the world. In the councils of government, we must guard against the acquisition
of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex. The potential for the disastrous rise of misplaced power exists and will persist.
It is shocking to me that despite all we've learned and achieved since that distant place and time, some things never change.
They don't.
But then again, another ancient quote, this time from a well-worn Bible: Nihil novi sub sole. There's nothing new under the sun. In history, things tend to go in cycles. You've probably picked up on this.
True.
And as historians, your job is going to be to point at these instances and try to warn folks what might be coming, for those who care to
And then be ignored because people do not learn from history. In fact, they plow on ahead and ignore everything they don't want to hear and just screw it. Let's just keep on doing it.
listen anyhow. So, with a new weapon system above all other things desired and coveted by the great houses of the Inner Sphere, and with infinite money to be made, and with the vast expense accounts of the Inner Sphere's competing houses ready to write any check which ensured their primacy, so began an era of rapid arms development, the likes of which the Inner Sphere had never seen. It is from this contest of rapid research and development where you begin to see the emergence of second-generation BattleMechs. For while the Mackie was decent, and doubly so as a rushed prototype again quickly put into operational field status far before it was ready, it was not a universal weapons platform. In a few short years, the Mackie was insufficient to the task of being a multi-role warfighting platform, and the military-industrial complex saw that shortcoming and decided now was the time to make all the money in the world. At first, the great houses wanted mechs, any kind, even bad copies of the prototype Mackie. But in time, and with arms competition determining who would be able to defend their sovereign territory and vast commercial interests, the Mackie's primacy would be challenged. What the great houses needed were more specialized BattleMechs. Some of these we have covered previously. With the second generation
Riflemen
of BattleMech development and funding unlimited by great houses greatly afraid of falling behind, various battlefield roles were soon filled with exciting and specialized killing tools, fully suited to their intended purpose. If nothing else, this was an era of new ideas.
Archer, Rifleman, Bellafron? Okay, cool beans. I didn't. Like, I know what a catapult looks like. I know what a Mad Cat looks like. Or Timberwolf if you're Clanner. Blackjack, Rifleman, things like that. I'm still learning.
With some having far more impact than others. Or even merit. Bellerophon, Scorpion, I'm looking at you.
That's...
Professor. Is it true that they tried to make it fly like a plane does?
Yeah, they tried to make it fly. No, I'm not joking.
That looks really stupid. Why would you waste the time to put it on legs? Just put it on treads and make a tank. That looks really, really dumb.
Remember when I said history repeats itself? Look, every so often in history this happens. Military planners and weapons designers get together, they have a few drinks and try to make things do what they really shouldn't. Remember.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. I'd say this is a shot, but it's not. It's...
Not all ideas are equal. So...
Yeah, the Soviet flying tank, because why the hell not, yeah.
And new weapon systems, the great houses continued throwing down while doing their best to obey the Ares conventions, except for those few times the Capellans decided to take the bull by the horns and find out exactly why the Taurians have a reputation for being experts at defense in depth. And it would have gone on this way in the Inner Sphere, with endless skirmishing, weapons development, surprise attacks, saber rattling, brinksmanship, and an ever-escalating series of brushfire wars, until one man decided to change everything. And because this is the Inner Sphere, there's a common thread for these sorts of events. His name was Ian Cameron.
Oh.
He would create Star League.
Oh.
The Cameron line had been the long-established and mostly reasonable leadership of the Terran hegemony for many generations. One after another, generation after generation, the Cameron line had shaped the Terran hegemony to become the beacon of human civilization. Some Camerons were idealistic crusaders for human rights in ages that recognized none. Some Camerons were deal brokers and peacemakers on galactic scale. And then, well, some Camerons weren't. Judith Cameron, for instance, possessed none of the wit and idealism that had become common for the Cameron line. That's a very kind way of saying she was dumb and prone to violent outbursts.
Well, that works.
And Jacob Cameron, well, yes, he played
The
his
mullet.
part too, but we've been over that.
The mullet.
Skirting bankruptcy, internal discontent, external political and internal political challenges, and not to mention the occasional ensuing border skirmish. The hegemony had not only endured, but continued to thrive in the center of the Inner Sphere despite all great challenges to its continued existence. From the oldest worlds of mankind, the hegemony provided a powerful reminder that humanity had a common homeworld.
I need to check out something on the hegemony itself. I really, really do. Like, there's a couple of things I want to see. There's a couple of things I want to understand a little bit better. The hegemony be one of them. The formation of the Star League itself. How did that happen? The secession wars. Yeah, I want to know about all those.
One that was mostly stable and able to produce some of the finest
Everything,
weapons ever
man.
made.
Everything.
They could look to the hegemony and see rightfully where the power in the Inner Sphere lay, and watch in horror, or perhaps envy, at what they were able to achieve. A poor ruler would have used the technological monopoly and industrial strength of the hegemony to conquer all, or at least plunge the age of proliferation into a contest of arms in which they would all surely perish in the name of profit.
Sounds like a good time.
Cameron wasn't that kind of ruler.
No.
Ian Cameron was formerly the 13th Director General of the Terran hegemony. Well-educated, savvy, shrewd, and widely experienced in political matters. He was an ideal candidate for the job, despite it not originally even being his job. As with most Camerons, the story is a bit more complex, and we'll get to that presently. Perhaps most shaped by his mother's policies of aggressive peacemaking during her tenure as Director General, Ian grew up believing there was more to be gained by carrot than stick. With these policies as his foundation in political science, Ian took it upon himself to build a better future for not only
Karen Cameron, thank you, Rena. Thank you. I now can't get that out of my head.
the hegemony, but for humanity as a whole. Ian's professional background had shaped him as well. He had served in the hegemony armed forces and later as a hegemony ambassador. He wasn't sheltered or inexperienced in the ways of the world, or, sadly, the seeming cruelty of fate. In fact, his dream of a better future came as much from a place of suffering and deep personal loss as it had an aristocratic upbringing. In fact, it's remarkable with all that happened to him. He didn't become an authoritarian dick worthy of the history books. Between childhood and leadership, he'd lost his mother, he'd lost his brother, he'd lost a son. And despite the many personal challenges he'd faced, he stayed true to his beliefs. Whatever came his way, he worked tirelessly for the betterment of the inner sphere. This is stranger still, again, as he was not supposed to be in charge at all. You see, his brother was the Director General at first. However, that reign was cut short when disaffected officers staged a coup and gunned him down. This wasn't just a coup to gain power, but something different altogether. A sign of the times, as it were. A cabal of military officers were pissed at the diplomatic corps getting more funding and support than the military, and decided to do something about it. With guns, Ian survived, and in the chaos he decided to fix things. In short, he took command. He took the mantle of Director General. He swiftly put down the revolt and even pardoned a good number of the rebels. All around, he was a mostly nice guy who knew how to keep his cool when shit was going sideways.
Good.
That, or he realized the inner sphere had bigger problems than what uniform got what paycheck. He wasn't a fool despite being a dreamer, and he laid the foundation for what followed one careful decision at a time. It is notable that he realized that the dream of a unified inner sphere was not a 6-month process, but more than likely a plan that would require a lifetime of effort. Being mindful of the task he set for himself, he aimed to slowly fix the hegemony as best he could and plan for the future.
So basically, he was in a setting that so far has had leaders that are either backstabbers, liars. He was up there with Krinsky as one of the better rulers. He was one of the better ones. I like this guy. I actually like this guy.
He allocated money to the military through military research grants to prevent the hegemony from falling behind in an age of rapid military proliferation. He also created an internal investigations department to ensure the military didn't decide to again engage in voting with bullets.
Yeah.
He knew the secret to founding Star League and ensuring it survived was the creation of interdependencies
Go for it, Kelly.
of not only culture, but economic and military forces, as much as any formal governmental ties. With his own hegemony largely depleted of resources and the generations of incredible industrial effort, this grand alliance of houses would not only preserve his home, but through it, ensure lasting peace and prosperity for all.
Kelly.
The Star League Accords were signed July 9th, 2571, 20 years after the Third Endurian conflict, and 22 years after the coup that had inadvertently placed him on the throne.
Nice.
I'm being brief here because the creation of Star League and its early diplomatic efforts, conquests, and reunification wars are a subject all their own. I'll get to them in time. Let's
Yeah, it's
just
good
say
posing.
It's likely its own lecture in the future. However, from individual treaties between nations to a lasting compact between the states of the Inner Sphere, all achieved again in a 20-year window, the Inner Sphere was unified in treaty, law, and economic power. So naturally, this changed things a bit. From what was an age of rapid military proliferation, there was peace. But the military-industrial complex, after a short panic, when all the warring houses had just more or less stopped, soon realized they had just been handed a blank check. They realized that instead of having lost customers and all the previously competitive house armies, they had now gained a single, very large one, the biggest customer they would ever have. The Star League Defense Force, and it had need of mechs on a scale never before realized.
Hooray! From fusion to firepower.
General Motors had been for the longest time a company known for its single magnificent contribution to the historical record, the perfection and commercialization of reliable fusion power. Believe it or not, they once made ground vehicles, some of which were quite remarkable feats of engineering prowess. It is said some of the finest ground cars of ancient Terra were made by their vast industrial complexes.
Allegedly.
Along the way, they managed to snag the occasional arms contract. It is of historical note that any sufficiently advanced industrial firm will practice peace and war in equal measure, so long as the checks clear on time. That being said, General Motors had enjoyed modest respectability as a sane and reasonable corporation through many centuries of mostly sound fiscal policies. Mostly. But with the expansion of the
I'm not gonna talk about that at all. I'm gonna leave that one where it is on the floor. I'm gonna leave it. Yeah, I know we were supposed to have flying cars. That is just not. Yeah.
SLDF is the big stick of Star League. General Motors had for themselves perhaps the greatest opportunity they had ever known. They would commit their entire resource base, financial stake, and industrial might to the greatest project they would ever undertake and produce one, if not the finest BattleMechs ever to grace the Inner Sphere. And it would be called the Marauder.
Intermission. Don't rush yourself. He did. And we all know what happened to him. Fact Division, here we go. Nice. Oof. Bring him a sandwich is kind of a weird rite of passage. GM Legal sent us another letter. Dear Dr. Randolph Checkers Esquire, aka Tex, and Mike, aka that, or Marauder, Mad 3 if you legal counsel is not licensed to litigate. Cease and desist. It's just awesome. Confirms what is this? The Amora Slap marketing campaign. Discount Dad is not an authorized GM dealer. Seriously, just stop asking about self-sustaining fusion reactors already. Due to unreasonable and arbitrarily set completion date, we are behind schedule. It's always nice when they do. Oh God. He made a grunting sound. Papa John's coupons. Give him Papa John's coupons. Look at that. Oh my God, look at that. Oh. Nice. $30,000. Nice. I've been thinking about doing that, but I just don't like. I need to talk to somebody about doing that because I'm really not sure how to get started with that. So, yeah. Oh, a new way to do it. Remember the Black Watch, of course. Don't simp per text, it makes them uncomfortable. The courtesy flush of the channel might be editor stream from.
All right.
Are you gonna have a bite, Mike?
I'm gonna have a bite. This is omelet and
All right,
ham.
everybody, brace yourselves.
This is omelet and ham.
Oh, I'm gonna watch this.
From 1993, omelet and ham, which it doesn't smell nice, but it's very juicy.
Juicy omelet. That's what I want.
Lots of juices.
That's what I want in omelet is juice.
This will be fine. You're saying don't do it? You mean yeah? Okay, here we go.
Mike
That
has
was
made
so-
a face.
that was so good.
I've noticed you held the wet nap over your mouth as though you spit something out.
No, that's
Oh, that is so bad, dude. MREs are bad enough, but a 30-year-old one?
not. No, I was just wiping my mouth.
No,
I just
Miss
sneezed,
J,
you know?
you shouldn't.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, I ate my fill.
Oh, you did have such a big dinner.
It was delicious.
Yeah, 30-year-old MRE, that's what he was eating. Hot dogs are good too. cat girl on a mech. There you go. Anything?
Brasil, campeão do mundo!
Brasil! Venha pro Brasil!
Fui Taurus! Fui Taurus!
Maradona! Cocalero!
Cocalero!
Preces dos Nord.
Hello.
Nice.
It is me, the editor. No, not that editor.
Oh.
This one right here. You might be wondering why my voice sounds different when I play with text. Well, ...
Mean meat machine. What is that? What is this? I don't want to know what this is. Oh no, stop it. God, that is the Oh, that is disgusting. Oh my God, no. Every Italian within a 500-mile radius just had a spasm. Oh. He doesn't want to take commissions to send him cat girl. No, don't eat it, Tex. Just don't, Miss J. Just leave it be.
In history or human interaction, when someone insists that something in particular is something special, they're either flat out lying in order to sell you bullshit you don't need, or make themselves feel better, or most likely stating a matter of opinion derived from personal experience. I can say
there's discount
the following
band, nice.
Is a fact. The Marauder is definitely something special. And being that this is academia, I must now prove that assertion.
Go for it.
Despite pressures from the SLDF, house armies, mercenaries, private security firms, and the occasional periphery upstart to build specialized weapons platforms in order to fill various perceived weaknesses in military doctrine, GM chose to build something unique. That's a very nice way of saying they decided to build whatever the fuck they wanted instead of trying to build what a customer demanded.
There you go.
So rather than build a sniper or a brawler,
I will, Alan. Appreciate it, bud.
Or an assault platform or any other specialized warfighting machine, GM rolled up its sleeves, did a rail of Canopus battle powder, and designed something goddamn unique.
It's always the best way to start working.
And truly fucking beautiful. The Marauder just wasn't a departure from the trend toward specialized niche mechs coming out to fulfill specialized battlefield roles. And as stated, the Marauder wasn't even designed with the wants and wishes of the client in mind. Instead, the Marauder takes from the older idea that a weapon should be able to fill a wider variety of roles, and that multi-role war machines are more attractive to a customer's actual needs instead of their perceived needs, and therefore less of a pain in the ass to justify purchasing. That and GM has made a name for itself as not only as an innovator, but a company that is willing to take risks. From corvettes to fusion power, from power plants to weapon systems. GM has time and time again put their money on the line and said, fuck it, somebody's got to do it. In this specific case, I am very glad that they did. Expertly crafted from blueprint to prototype to production run. With keen attention paid to every possible feature, it stood apart from all mechs that came before, and substantially influenced every mech design since. Standing 12 meters tall and weighing in at 75 tons by Star League reckoning, the Marauder cut an imposing figure when it rolled off the production line in 2612. From its generous armor, keen balance of firepower, to the top-of-the-line communications and targeting systems, the base Marauder was light years ahead of its contemporaries, boasting 2 Hellstar PPCs, an SRM-6, and a pair of medium lasers and small lasers to round everything out.
Yay!
To top it off, GM partnered with their autocannon division to add more firepower. Because yes, GM has an autocannon division.
I was about to say something about that. The GM autocannon division. Pumping out rounds and frowns.
GM autocannons. Because fuck that guy in particular. GM decided to equip the Marauder with the Whirlwind AC-5. This wasn't a +1 solution where they simply tried adding one more weapon to fill tonnage. This was an actual design feature because the Marauder could go hull down behind cover and continue the engagement while safely behind whatever was at hand.
Nice.
With the advantage of surprise firing behind cover, the Whirlwind AC-5 could accurately hit opponents and hard, delivering a 3-shot burst of pinpoint 120mm projectiles. GM partnered with many industrial firms in the rollout of the Marauder. This was for multiple purposes. The first and foremost was to make the Marauder the most attractive weapon system they could. For example, they opted to involve Dalban Micronics for their excellent communication and targeting systems. This was a wise move and instantly added prestige to the Marauder design, as Dalban Micronics had been involved on the Mackie design and production team, and accordingly had become the accepted standard of quality electronics equipment across the Inner Sphere. By incorporating a known name and a premium one at that, GM ensured that any military purchasing authority who scoffed at the new design would see that it had implemented off-the-rack proven technologies throughout not only its design, but production, and it had sourced them from proven military vendors.
You see, this is what happens when you actually care about the product that you're putting out there. For every 5 things where somebody just rushed something, you have one instance where the company in mind decided, we're just going to build the best thing we possibly can. There are so many examples of similar principles being applied all the way through, any kind of franchise, and real life for that matter. I actually just saw another example of this in 40K. If you are familiar with the Siege of Vrax, 2 Space Marine chapters arrived on Vrax. Only one of them really made a difference, and it's the one that gave a crap about the reason they were supposed to be there.
The engine chosen was the venerable 19-ton Vlar 300. While heavy, and likely an approved licensed variant of an existing GM product, the notion of using an outside power plant may have been a diplomatic gesture, for if nothing else, It's a hell of a lot harder to cancel a military program that spreads jobs evenly across a broad voter base. As for the primary weapon systems, the Marauder, again, excelled. Whereas many other mechs previously had specialized weapon systems or an eclectic mix of firepower, the Marauder was the first to suggest a balance of heavy firepower options, allowing engagement at any range, while ensuring long-term battlefield survivability. The dual Hellstar PPCs were chosen as the primary weapon system not because they were cheap, but for one consideration above any other. They were insanely durable.
Okay.
Jim had studied the early years of mech combat and had noticed a few things. For starters, mech pilots would often trend toward abuse of their equipment as they had begun to believe themselves some sort of incarnation of knightly order.
Of course.
Such beliefs on the battlefield resulted in glorious combat and daring do in the name of duty. However, such beliefs also resulted in mechs being torn to pieces and the headlong rush toward glory, honor, and victory.
Yeah, because what's keeping the thing, this, the several ton thing around you stable? What's that in the face of glory and pride?
Melee being a likely possibility, and ammunition a finite resource. The Marauder was designed from the get-go to not only allow, but embrace bludgeoning as a tactic. The arm pods were purposely overbuilt for durability.
Nice.
And significantly reinforced to lend itself to better mech foo for any insane enough to require it. For durability's sake, the Marauder was clad in 11.5 tons of Valiant lamellar, which, while expensive at the time and certainly on the higher end of things, was perhaps some of the most durable armor for weight yet constructed in the inner sphere, with truly superior damage mitigation properties against firepower directed against it. The Marauder also boasted a thin profile facing the target, further enhanced by the slopes of the armor, inviting shots to ricochet and bounce. Most mechs were designed around the concept of avoiding fire, or taking it and then retreating. The Marauder was designed to face it head on, charge in, and crush anyone who got in the way. The Inner Sphere had its first mech that could duel at range, support an assault, chase down retreating enemies, city fight, ambush superior forces, or even throw hands in melee with ease. Again, most mechs up to this point had design philosophies limited by the thinking of the time, and with various industrial firms competing for who could fulfill production orders based entirely on the whims and wants of military procurement planning. And the Marauder was above all a departure from this. If anything, its design philosophy was "fuck you, I'm fabulous." And it was truly that. With 16 heat sinks, the Marauder was respectably cool unless a pilot face rolled the controls. Most importantly, though, the Marauder was incredibly simple to modify and overhaul. That's right, they even future-proofed the goddamn thing. Needless to say, the SLDF bought them the fuck out.
Ugh. Now that is a thick boy. That's a thick boy.
The SLDF bought the whole first production run and signed contracts for extended orders in perpetuity. In short, this thing was a major cash cow for GM and a cornerstone of SLDF war planning. The Marauder became the golden standard by which other mechs were measured. So much so, the Marauder was selected as the mech for the gunslinger program, which I guess I have to talk briefly about that.
Go for it.
Tangent warning, everyone. I'll keep this brief as good records on the era are scant and details somewhat vague. However, there are a few things to know for certain. In the early years of Star League, there was a
That is the best image I have seen so far. That is the best image, period. That is mech foo. Yes, Andrew. Imagine how trash of a pilot you have to be, where somebody styles on you this hard.
Problem with the Draconis Combine. Why? Well, they're the Draconis Combine. And as it turns out, when you tell a militarized culture that they don't need such a big military because the SLDF provides security and military power in your territory, the warriors who are sent home tend to get a bit, well, uppity.
Yeah.
These angry warriors without masters, or Ronin, as they became known, were a particular sore spot for the SLDF. These guys couldn't just lay down. No, thanks to believing they were honorable and mighty warriors in service of the state and gods on the battlefield, meant that they couldn't just simply go home and back down. They instead would go rogue and challenge the SLDF to duels frequently, and thus began the first hidden war. Whereas a bad military option would be to just increase garrison size and occupy contested zones with more and more military hardware, the SLDF chose a smarter option.
Okay.
What if they trained a bunch of badasses to excel at ass-kicking, station them in the problematic areas, and then just let things play out?
Go for it.
If the former Draconis warriors wanted a duel, give them duelists that would send them home in a fucking pine box. As well, any of the lessons learned in this dueling program could then be applied to the SLDF and get better mech pilots as a result.
There you go.
And so the SLDF Advanced Combat and Maneuvering Skills Project began. In time, it would be known as the Gunslinger Program. This program was effective in eventually getting the wayward Draconis warriors to stop acting like weirdos, demanding honor and chances to prove themselves in combat by either recruiting them into the program, or giving them what they wanted in the first place, a battlefield death. This program would rely on taking the best of the best and either making them very much better or very fucking dead. Graduates of this program included many of the commanders and division leaders of the Royal SLDF regiments, and all of the goddamn Black Watch. Through their legendary status, regardless of what war machines they used on the field of battle.
I was waiting for the bagpipes.
Each and every graduate of the Gunslinger program had two things in common. One, they were probably the deadliest mech warriors in the history of armed combat. And two, they had honed their skills in the Gunslinger program's training mech of choice, the fucking Marauder. That being said, we have to ask ourselves how versatile Marauders are really. In truth, there are so many goddamn variants that most sources struggle to even explain them. In fact, there are variations on the design, catering to every possible combat scenario. And this, coupled with its ease of modification, repair, and manufacture, has certainly granted it supernatural longevity throughout the inner sphere and beyond. So let's talk about what makes a Marauder a Marauder.
Okay. But how many Marauders are there
to say
really?
There are variants of the Marauder is like saying there are variations of color, toppings for pizza, or degrees of Capellan treachery. I think that by going over a few of the main production models out there, you might possibly understand how versatile this system truly is. As well, I feel strongly that a historian can easily track the changing fortunes of each great house, using the Marauder as a yardstick for precisely this measure. For the Marauder serves as an interesting arms race within its own various refit programs, as the access to technology and industrial base waxes and wanes. The earliest Marauders were the 1R model. The MAD-1R was such a technological leap forward that it was chosen for the SLDF Royal Divisions and nobody else. That's right. The MAD-1R was such a badass piece of game-changing technology that it had a state monopoly for the SLDF Elite and nobody else by governmental decree. You could not possess one. It was against the law. GM was only too happy to supply this exclusivity for a price and ensure the MAD-1R and the finest upgrades possible. The 1R had ferrofibrous armor and case for its autocannon, in addition to some remarkable paint jobs. This was replaced and upgraded by the MAD-2R in 2760 after the invention of the ERPPC. The 2R got double heat sinks to accommodate the new weapon system, and the 2R to me stands as a good example of a midlife refit program offered by GM to ensure Star League continued to support their products. And this is where things get interesting.
Okay.
Because the Taurian Concordat got their hands on some Royal Marauders as part of their "let's make Capellans dead" strategic defense policies.
That sounds like a really good defensive strategic policy right there. I'm just saying.
The MAD-2T is a Taurian refit that replaces the AC-5 with an LB-5X. This is likely hand in hand with the Taurian proclivity to shoot shotguns at people who won't get off their property and go back the way they came. That or it exists as an option to plow infantry and light vehicle waves off of whatever planet the Capellans just tried to claim. The MAD-3D was a Davion design that curiously did away with the ammunition dependencies of an autocannon system, opting to replace it instead with a large laser and adding heat sinks to better manage its overall heat profile.
I like that
variant.
variant.
Design made ammunition independent. This variant is quite popular in places where regular resupply or extended operations require one to be self-sufficient for extended periods. The MAD-3L is a Capellan refit.
Oh Christ! Does it have a knife in it that stabs the pilot in the back when they turn it on?
From 2905. Plagued with shortages in everything from food to competent leadership, the Capellans address material shortages and a distinct lack of reliable PPCs by removing one. The MAD-3L is a bit of a Frankenmech. It has one PPC, it has one large laser, and more heat sinks, but not better ones. It's also sad because Capellans made it.
Yeah.
Moving on, the MAD-3M is a Free Worlds League refit from the end of the 29th century. It removes PPCs and replaces them with large lasers and heat sinks. It's tremendously heat effective and probably one of the smartest refits from that era.
Okay.
Replacing complex systems with simpler equipment also means less downtime. As well as a noted producer of large lasers, the Free Worlds League decided to bring glory to Merrick by homebrewing logistics chain solutions and of course showcasing their own fine products. The MAD-5D was a refit of Marauders that survived the Succession Wars. Using Lost Tech, this is the closest thing you'll see to what Star League had likely intended for the design had it not burned in the wake of Amaris. It had ERPPCs, a cutting-edge General Motors extra-light fusion power plant, pulse lasers, case, jump jets, 16 double heat sinks, 14 tons of armor, and virtually every possible refinement. It brought Marauders into a new generation of warfare, this time to do battle against the clans. You probably wondered why the Inner Sphere was using upgun museum pieces on them, before making the realization that antiques can still be painful. The Free Worlds League upgraded their 3M Marauders in the MAD-5M and pressed as much recovered Star League Lost Tech into the design as possible. They made a fusion of their original refit concept and the latest in recovered tech, and as such, it is an interesting approach. Up-armored, with an XL engine and pulse lasers plus an LB-10X autocannon, it marks a distinctive development of the Marauder for a new generation of warfare. Further, it was enhanced with 16 double heat sinks and jump capability mirroring the Marauder MAD-5D.
So what is the difference between an AC, a regular autocannon, and an LB autocannon? What is the difference?
With the 5M, the Free Worlds League had a frontline mech that allowed them next-generational combat platforms while holding on to existing stocks of aging mechs.
So basically, you get shot by this. Okay, cool. Shotgun.
The Capellans were not content to simply leave the Marauders with one refit, and accordingly modified theirs further with the MAD-5L, whereas some houses wanted to enhance existing stockpiles of mechs to bring them in line with evolutions in doctrine or advancing technology. The Capellans did some drugs and made the MAD-5L. In 3067, they stripped the Marauder to its bones and built something I have trouble understanding. Armed with ER large lasers and medium lasers, it is a fire support mech. With Guardian ECM and stealth armor, it can hit, fade, and hide. With triple strength Myomer, it can sprint at close to 90 kph. This mix of tech makes it very expensive, and also a battlefield ninja. Or more than likely, it's an attempt to pander to special operations units in the make problems go away department in Capellan space. The MAD-5S was designed in direct response to the clan invasion, and notably replaces the autocannon with a Gauss rifle. Because nothing quite solves the problem of weirdos celebrating their fursona/petting zoo totem pole beliefs like hypervelocity slugs fired from barely literate mech warriors thinking they're the god of war. Yes, that was a mouthful. No, I am not wrong. And that's just scratching the surface. There are command mech marauders, targeting computer marauders.
What the hell is that?
Recon marauders, Solaris built marauders, dispensing marauders with rotary autocannons.
Nice.
There are prototype marauders, one-off marauders, custom marauders, royal guard marauders. There are marauders with dual cockpits, jump seats, and probably a fully equipped wet bar. The custom and
because of course there would be at least one of them.
Legendary marauders, on the other hand, are the stuff of fucking nightmares. And speaking of nightmares, I suppose I can sum up custom builds with a short talk about a certain fellow some have elected to call the Bounty Hunter.
Okay.
The Bounty Hunter is, well, let me just say this. Any weapon is unremarkable, unless it is in turn wielded by a legend. And this is certainly that kind of story. So we're going to briefly talk about the Bounty Hunter, at least insofar as it relates to the Marauder. As a basic primer, the best way to describe the Bounty Hunter is that he or she is like the dread Pirate Roberts of the Inner Sphere. Not the 21st century criminal/illegal wholesale service provider, but the 20th century narrative character of literature. The Bounty Hunter is a person or persons who have routinely appeared to kick the shit out of folks at opportune times for the purest motivation known in the Inner Sphere: cold, hard cash. The Bounty Hunter has been a friend and foe for many a veteran warrior, serving as a nemesis to such historical characters as Natasha Kerensky. I shouldn't say nemesis. It was more a blood feud in that case.
Okay.
But I'll say this. The Bounty Hunter is still around today, in some form or another, in some sort of marauder or another, cobbled together with scavenged clan, lost tech, and unknown technologies. His or her marauder appears when least expected to take what is due, before disappearing entirely. I could say a lot more about the Bounty Hunter, but I feel that could be a whole lecture on its own. Let me know. And that is by not any stretch the most notable Marauder one-off or legend in the pilot's seat.
So there's an actual character called the Bounty Hunter, and he is kind of like BattleTech Santa Claus. He pops out of the sky late at night and delivers ass whippings.
Grayson Carlisle heavily favored the design. This is no small statement, as he's often seen as the principal architect of warfare in the 31st century. He was the commander of the Grey Death Legion, and during the course of his vast and storied career, he managed to steal a Marauder from the Draconis Combine. He put it to good use right up until the clan invasion, where it saved his damn life before falling on the field of combat. He replaced it with a Victor, but in my estimation, it was a
What is Grey Death Legion?
Horror trade. First Prince Joseph Davion drove one for a time, which served him well until he tried to eject. He found out that day the Draconis Combine treats its captured enemies as a sharpening block. In this case, quite
why the fedora?
Literally. But he's most remembered for not backing down. And I suppose the Marauder helped him stay true to at least that aim. In short, anyone who can would have a Marauder. From lowly mech warrior to legendary hero, the Marauder became the answer to everything. In any possible tactical scenario that needed a mech to just pummel the absolute dog shit out of an enemy and walk away in style. The Marauder became the yardstick of military might in the Intersphere for at least 300 years. Because there are some companies that will keep remixing the common theme and reselling it over and over again and bring you the same product with minor tweaks year after year after year, the Marauder is still a very viable weapons platform. And then again, there are some mad lads who will look at the status quo and say, you know what, fuck it, let's turn this shit up to 11. And that's where we get the Marauder II. Or as I like to call it, what happens when nobody in the boardroom is sober during the design phase.
There you go.
I technically have to point out that the Marauder II is not exactly a GM product. At least it wasn't initially, but we'll get to that. The story begins with some very interesting people arriving from parts unknown. They would be called the Wolf's Dragoons, and they had a request. They contracted the then virtually unknown Blackwell Industries to more or less take the proven Marauder design and make it bigger and better in every way. And so they did. Which isn't an easy task, doubly so considering the mess the Intersphere was in by 3012. But Blackwell knew that such a princely task would set them apart from their competitors and allow them a chance at making a true name for themselves. And they would. For the Marauder II was a goddamn monster.
That looks like a beast.
Despite the limitations of a very low-tech base, the Marauder II is a viable assault platform even by modern standards. And while pricey, probably because of very limited production run, it carries itself well enough to be an interesting selection for any would-be warlord looking to stand apart on the battlefield. Where some would consider the Marauder II to be merely an assault mech, I feel that's less than generous.
Okay.
It's a versatile assault platform in a premium grade, and should be seen in the same lens as a fine timepiece or a luxury car.
Nice.
Fancy? Yes. An ostentatious show of wealth? Sure. An interesting way to, and yes, I'm borrowing a phrase from an archaic piece of slang here, to quote, dab on the haters. Yes, it is precisely that. The Marauder II is 100 tons of angry. It has jump jets. It can clip along at 54 kph. It has 29 heat sinks. It has twin PPCs. It has 2 medium lasers and an LB-10X autocannon. It has more armor than an Atlas, and the firepower to beat the brakes off anyone who crosses the horizon. If the Marauder is a duelist, the Marauder II is a nitromethane-powered steamroller. It's not as versatile as its older sibling, but it typically answers the challenge well enough to not matter.
That's a brick. It has pretty much the same loadout, the LB-10X. So basically, from the loadout of this, it looks like they said, let's take a Marauder, have a Taurian headbutt it, slap enough armor on it to pretty much piss off any tank driver, and then make it never overheat even on the fucking sun. Sweet.
For there is another ancient proverb. No one argues with smoking craters. Also, noting that the Marauder II is more or less a refit of the Marauder demonstrates how versatile the damn design is. Not many mechs can stand to be torn down and rebuilt 25 tons heavier and still be an awesome war machine, let alone an ass-kicking one. So remember when I said it wasn't technically a GM product? Well, let's get into that.
Okay.
GM wasn't exactly happy when another company remixed and later sold their design. But GM is smart. They simply waited until Blackwell needed money and the Wolf's Dragoons needed their engineering expertise. GM swooped in, extended credit.
It's amazing how the Wolf's Dragoons didn't say anything.
And gained access to Lost Tech in the process of refurbishing out.
Maybe they did, just nobody damn well listened to them.
Reach's industrial base. This not only guaranteed a partnership with a fearsome mercenary unit and provided guaranteed customers, it gave them a substantial technological advantage over all of their competition.
Historical influence.
It's not just the mech itself that lives on. Alexander Kerensky, among his other qualifications, was a superb conceptual mech designer. That is to say, he would come up with a concept and demand people make what he wanted. Most of these ideas were pretty goddamn fantastic, as it gave us designs like the King Crab and the Atlas. Interestingly enough, when they were putting the Atlas together and decided to choose a reliable power plant, they went with the most proven and reliable one they had.
Okay, so the King Crab is a mech that I do know about. It is a mech that I do know about, and I like the King Crab. I like the way it looks. I don't know why I like the way it looks. It just looks big and very angry.
The established Vlar 300 from the Marauder. You'll find a lot of inspiration of the Marauder in many other mech designs. One thing you may have learned about the military-industrial complex is that original ideas are feared for a time, and then copied. This leads to a few interesting designs I'd like to speak to. And don't worry, some of these will get their own lectures in time. First of which is the Night Star. The Night Star came out of the Amaris Civil War, when SLDF Command noticed Amaris's troops prioritized command units for destruction. These command units were Marauders, so GM decided to do something about that. If the Marauder II is a steamroller, the Night Star is the vengeful spirit of the Star League. 2 Gauss rifles, a PPC, and with 14 double heat sinks, it's 95 tons of angry. It was only made for the first year of the Amaris Civil War, because Amaris prioritized the factory's destruction. Add that to the list of things Amaris ruined, please. The Night Star disappeared from history for 250 years before being resurrected. It quickly earned a place in Solaris arenas as king of the assault circuit. The Bandersnatch, on the other hand, is an attempt to use the Marauder's parts to make a mech that's more or less... Look, it's not great.
Okay.
It's not awful. It's not even cheap. But it has LB-10X autocannons, LRM-5s, and it's a product of the immediate post-Clan invasion era. Is it a great mech for the ages? No. But it will show you how far the design can be stretched by those wanting to make a quick buck on its name.
Right.
The Maelstrom was on the drawing board before the collapse of Star League. It was resurrected after the rediscovery of Lost Tech with the Helm Memory Core. Plans for the Maelstrom were contained within, among many other unique technological finds. The Maelstrom is everything the Marauder could have been if Star League had lived. With an XL engine and 19 double heat sinks, it's fast and heavily armored. It clips along at 90 kph and carries a respectable amount of firepower, or 75 tons. Some would try to claim the Rakshasa as a Marauder spinoff, but I disagree. A Rakshasa is a Mad Cat put together by people in the dark, and
that's what I thought. It looks like a Mad Cat.
Those people were denied the use of precision tools and the right to proper education. The clans, on the other hand, loved the Marauders so damn much that they made their own. The 2C variant with, well, it's evolutionary to say the least. In many ways, it's a midway evolutionary step between the Marauder 1 and 2. It's an 85-ton assault mech with 3 ERPPCs and good heat control. It stands as a reminder that the clans could never quite forget where they came from, and had based their culture on an idealized vision of the past. I personally find it a less good Maelstrom, at least in the bring more of the Marauder to the Marauder concept. But, again, I have my biases. And while some would claim the Mad Cat, or as those weirdos call it, a Timberwolf based on the Marauder, I'm going to set the record straight.
Go for it.
Phelan Kell's Wolfhound, upon first contact with the clans, had a targeting computer error versus what was then an unidentified mech. The computer thought it was a Marauder, and then it thought it was a catapult, and then it kept glitching between them. The display read MAD-CAT, which was then made its proper name by a certain telecoms company in their foremost strategic mind who had already a good idea on how to solve the problem. But, well, I've already covered that story.
Conclusions.
At 6.6 million C-bills, the Marauder is an attractive weapon system for anybody wanting to win a war in style, and have such an investment last until the next war, and the generation after that. The sheer number of designs the Marauder influenced are legion in number, and considered to be a part of the same family. In short, GM took a gamble, and for their efforts, they became a household name. Every mech pilot who's marched off to war knows what a Marauder is, or they will soon learn. In summation, the Marauder was the first prototypical command mech with the ability to do everything from fire support to direct assault. It could be argued to be a prototype Omni-mech, for if nothing else, it lent itself to a variety of roles and did most of them well enough without suffering any great shortcoming.
All right.
It outlasted its many contemporaries through Civil War, Succession Wars, and an Exodus. They're still stomping around today because they are durable, reliable, cheap to work on, share parts intercompatibility with many other mechs, and are goddamn sexy. They are a reminder of what the Inner Sphere could make in its golden age. The golden age of Star League. And when manufacturers had to design and build the best they could.
I don't think so, Pilo. I don't think so.
Share.
And the reason I don't think so is because the design of the Marauder, with the top-facing cannon, if you put the missile launchers on there, it'll be kind of defeating the purpose. It really would have.
In short, the Marauder is a finely balanced war machine built in a better age, preparing for its darkest hour. Despite everything thrown at it, this badass BattleMech survived, thrived, and continues to stay relevant to this very day. The Marauder is, truly, a more elegant weapon from a much more civilized age.
Oh God, why? The Star Wars reference, alright. Final thoughts.
I want to take the time to humbly thank the magnificent work of our dedicated artists, historical conservation teams, and archival specialists who make this lecture series possible. Without their Herculean efforts, we would be lacking imagery to accompany some of the greatest scenes in our shared history, and be stuck in the unfortunate position of having to imagine everything. It is their work which allows ours to have the impact it does, and I encourage you all to support their professional development. Many of these enterprising individuals are hireable and do nothing but the very best of work. From the artists to the voice talent, I thank you all for continuing to support this lecture series. Excuse me, class, I normally don't take calls in the middle of lectures.
Okay.
But this is coming in on the old emergency channel.
Oh.
And technically I am in the militia. One moment.
I have found you. You have mocked the clans for the last time. For your insolence, I am declaring formal battle for possession of this dirt ball. My mighty fleet is on its way to slay you. I bid one warship and a whole trinary to conquer your pathetic world.
Are you threatening the whole planet at once?
You dare mock my Bachal?
I got him to say the line. Okay, seriously, how'd you get here?
We followed the jump point we discovered on a redacted Comstar chart.
Oh, the old jump point. Well, there's very good reasons we don't use that anymore.
Do you answer, my Bachal, or have you no honor?
Okay, sure. I bid the minefield Comstar put at our jump point after we kind of made him mad.
Wait, what?
And bargained and done.
Nice. Nice. Since last hostile occupation. Very nice.
Well, hi there, it's me, Mr. Catch, and I'm running a special down here at Catch's big old fancy shooting store. Fanciest, most special shooting store there is. We got all kinds of shooters, big shooters, small shooters, fucking full auto shooters, and it's really neato. But that's not all. We got ourselves a full set of services. Want a gun blued? Want a gun painted? Want a gun deep fucking fried? We got that too. Why? Because we can. Because the customer is always right. We even made a whole line of custom in-the-house made 1911s. Why? Because 47 world wars, that's why. But wait, there's more. That's right, to capitalize on changing needs of our customers, we're rolling out the first bullpup while you wait service. Bored with your gun? Want something new? Got a rifle that needs to be weird? Why not bullpup it? Pistol? Bullpup it. Rifle? Bullpup it. Shotgun? Bullpup it. We'll bullpup anything and everything. We'll bullpup your car, aerospace fighter, anything you want. We'll cut, saw, weld, and boom, bullpup. Also, don't forget, we have a full line of laser guns for when ammo is scarce. Yeah, lasers. It's light that hurt. Want to play laser tag with some serious fucking stakes? Buy a laser rifle. It's the most fun you can have with a light aside from the sun all day. Just come on in. Free balloons for the kids and a free hand grenade with every purchase. Remember, I'm Mr. Catch, and I know a thing or two about shooting people.
Hallå där! Behöver du en kontorstol, en lampa eller möjligtvis lite nya möbler? Behöver du förvaringslösningar, en ny garderob eller en ny uppsättning med skålar och tallrikar? Behöver du vapensystem, fälthaubitsa, handeldvapen eller kanske en ny eldkastare? Vi här på IKEA i fria Vasalland har fokus på dina vardagsbehov här i sfären. Vi har allt ifrån fusionsmotorer, fulla uppsättningar vapensystem, dalahästar, fraktcontainrar fulla med köttbullar. Om
Why? Why?
du vill ha det så kan vi tillhandahålla det. Behöver du en ny mediumlaser? Såklart att du gör. Varje mechpilot behöver en mediumlaser. Med vårt nya paket Smältpunkt så får du 4 mediumlasrar och 4 kylflänsar. Vår nya ergonomiska katapultstol Slangbella kommer med tillhörande magnetisk dryckeshållare och massagefunktion. Personalen här på IKEA i fria Rassalhaug är dedikerade för att tillhandahålla smidiga och effektiva lösningar till dina vardagsbehov både på och utanför slagfältet. Majoriteten av våra produkter behöver endast den inkluderade insektsnyckeln för att monteras, och tack vare våra lättlästa monteringsanvisningar så kan vem som helst få sina drömmar att gå i uppfyllelse.
Yes, the mighty Allen key. Yes.
Vi kan nu stolt meddela att våra dalahästar numera är målade med blyfri färg.
Hello there, it is me, the editor. Actually no, but anyways, do you long for a new type of currency that does not depend on the Federal Reserve?
No.
Do you long for a new type of meme coin that won't die if a solar flare suddenly wipes the entire internet? Are you completely illiterate on the subject of cryptocurrency? Presenting GoodCoin, the newest sensation and hilariously valuable pieces of nothingness that live in your head. Each good coin is indivisible, incorruptible, and completely transcends the barriers of this plane of existence. The value of each good coin is completely dependent by the whims of its owner, so a single good coin can buy anything from a candy bar to the entire country of Switzerland.
And they keep on making cryptocurrency scams every day.
That sounds fascinating, I can hear you saying. But how do you mine good coin? You see, the beauty of good coin is that each good coin is generated and stored with your mind. Each time you have positive thoughts, a single good coin pops out of your brain matter. So if you are short of goob, all you have to do is think of something like boobies and bam, you have a good coin ready to use.
There you go.
Way, everyone is as rich or as poor as they please.
So if you want to have an infinite supply of goob coins to buy Switzerland, you just go to the hub. Seems legit.
Leading the way for a perfect world, because this system has no flaws whatsoever. And the best part is that, if anyone refuses to accept your good coin, that means they just broke the NIP, meaning that you can legally take their stuff by force with no repercussions whatsoever. To get you started, you get one complimentary good coin for watching this video.
Is a thing.
Because you are worth it. Because you deserve it. See? That was easy. So go into the world, my children, and spend your goob wisely.
No.
Hey, Discount Dan here, and despite having all of my merchandise seized, set on fire, exploded, burned, thrown into a lake, and bombed from orbit, I found a new way to make money and to help you at the very same time. Let me ask you a question. Do you like loot boxes? Subscription fees, early access? That's right. Discount Dan doesn't need any merchandise to sell you empty promises. So let me unveil my latest product service thing that is in no way a scam. Discount Dan's newest and only exclusive video game, Discount Dan's Adventureland, and very real good game. Here's how it works. Step 1, you give me money. Any money. You put your money in my hands and I'm going to tell you what I'm going to think about doing. I am going to make a video game. Will it have RPG systems and a deep economy simulation? Sure. Why not? Will it be multiplayer and support VR? Absolutely, possibly it may. Will it be available on streaming services and virtual retailers and whatnot? Probably, maybe. Will I be spending a portion of the money to ensure the constant barrage of advertising through all media types to include early access to streamers and influencers to sell you my totally very real game? Probably I will. Maybe. I don't know. Don't quote me on it. But hey, in exchange for your payment, I mean a donation to my dream of being a game designer and respected artist, I probably might even throw in some very good merch for this game that is being made for real. Like this hat, or these shoes. Look at these shoes. They even realistically worn in to simulate the main character of the game, Hobo Jim.
Hobo Jim, alright.
Real hero of the place. Did I base a game off of shady handycam footage I shot of a homeless guy who maybe was involved in some unlicensed blood sport on Canopus? That's none of your business.
Right.
You want the police, and you can't stop me. So yeah, give me the money and I'll make a game. Totally. It'll be great. But if you need guarantees, I'll promise you this. The Discount Dan pledge. I will always take your money. Guaranteed.
Tonight on WBPL 76. Tonight on WBPL 76.
Right.
Welcome again to Celebrity Tabletop with
Marauder of the Lake. You have a wonderful night.
none other than special guest player Duncan Fisher. Oh, fuck.
Duncan Fisher.
Your team finds itself in the parking garage of the Ares Macro Technology building. You've prepared well and pile out of the...
You didn't know Dan helped develop Star Citizen Pilot. That's a cheap shot.
armored van. You spent weeks planning for this run. A simple matter of extracting a scientist and his secrets at any cost. Mr. Johnson was clear. This will net you a handsome bonus, and finally your team will cross into the big leagues of Seattle's Shadowrunner scene.
The big leagues.
From here on out, it'll be parties, wealth, and respect.
Yeah.
So what do you do, chummers?
I spin up my drone to try to locate an access point to jack into the Matrix. I'm gonna get us in there without much of a fuss.
Right.
Okay, what are those drones loaded with again?
Gel rounds. No need to kill anybody.
A wise choice. No need to make a mess.
Alright, well, I'm going to astrally project and cover the drone monkey as he gets us in. Simple job, but those chip heads are easily distracted.
Listen, chummer, the trouble with that vending machine happened one time.
You hacked a peanut machine for free peanuts.
Rules are for losers. Peanuts are for life.
I drink at least 3 or 4 beers to get ready for combat. Strong Bad Iron Fist is ready to rock, but only 3 or 4 beers in. No more,
no less. Okay.
Noted, and noted.
I enter the scene.
It's not a scene. You were in the van.
I enter the van.
Okay.
You are already in the van. It is a van. You were in it. You drove here in it. The van is sitting there.
I drive the van and bust some sick-ass donuts.
The van has no keys in it.
I don't need no keys. I'm Robo Duncan Fisher.
You are a substantially augmented human, but you are not a robot.
Go gadget auto theft.
Roll electronics.
Well, I got this number.
The van is broken. You are holding the wheel in your hand.
Vans are lame anyways.
Yes.
I get out of the van.
Come on. We're doing this again.
This smells like fucking
God damn
bullshit.
Okay.
Careful hacking, stealth, and precision have gotten you through the tower. Despite a certain street samurai's proclivity and a player's insistence on breaking every single Ares employee's hands,
Well, if you disable the hands, they can't call for help.
True.
You know, have mouths. They can yell for help.
Not if their hands are broken. It's a scientific fact.
Really?
According to what scientist ever? I'm not an expert, but I'm pretty sure you can still yell with broken hands.
No.
No, you can't. It's the future. Trust me, I'm from the future, and hands are very essential. You have to talk with your hands all the time.
Mike?
We're all not Italian in here.
Character is a troll, and this is the dumbest thing he's ever heard.
Roll intelligence. Yes, this is the dumbest thing you've ever heard. Anyways, before you is a penthouse of the scientist you must extract. Before this point, he was under involuntary house arrest. Now he's yours for the taking if you can get in without setting off an alarm.
Go gadget chainsaw hands!
You don't have chainsaw hands. You
What?
have hand razors.
Hand razors.
Ha! Now I do.
You can't just alter the character sheet.
I can do anything I want. I have altered the character sheet. Pray I do not alter it any further.
All right, Vader.
Are we suddenly playing Star Wars?
No, it's me, Duncan Fisher. I cast Fireball.
You're not a mage. You can't cast fireball.
Yeah, that's my thing.
Wait, I thought we were playing D&D. Never mind. Let me read through my sheet.
Oh my God.
Let's see here. Simlink, Vidlink, ECM, ECCM. Here we go. HE grenades. That's basically Fireball, right?
Stop.
Well, yeah, but are you sure?
I pull the pin with my teeth and throw the grenade at the penthouse door. For the inner sphere! Take that, you motherfuckers!
Alright. Let's see here. Explosions in a confined space.
Duncan.
I don't know why I keep playing
This
with
is
you
your
guys. Every time we
fault,
come in
Goat.
here, it's another explosion or some crazy stuff happens.
This game is too complicated. Just have the thing blow up, like this.
You son of a bitch! You son of a bitch!
I am frankly amazed and horrified. We are literally on fire.
Yay!
Oh, I'm in farewell to my beautiful land, and as mustard and all.
A very special thanks to Jam Legal for having a sense of humor about all this ever since the Black. Now where's my fucking future fire plan?
Before you I stand, to march off to war and to die if I must, and to fight like a bastard, in this you must trust. As the years pass along, you will see what it's worth, bearing bodies and moving to another earth. I fear not the low bear what happens to me, just as long as my band's and his
He owns a bullpup handgun.
Finally free, just as long as old Van Sant will remember me. Set a course to our neighbors or anywhere new, to a place where I can stand alongside.
Oh my God.
Of the bravest we
English
have,
to angry
though we
crowds.
are not the best. I'll wager we'll pass our most ultimate test. As a mayhem will follow what we do today, for all of our orders are morally gray.
Shadowrun is a lot of fun, SRX.
What happens to me, as
I don't know,
long as my
Pylo.
Van Sant is finally free.
Not a clue.
For as long as old Van Sant will remember me.
Okay, Alan.
When we run out of ammo and finally fall, and no more are left to hear that last bugle call, they'll replace us with whatever they have left on hand, and again we'll rise up to defend our land. Though the Van Sant militia is always at
I
war,
know.
we never quite know what
Fox
we
Leader,
are
I know.
fighting for.
Fear not the low pay or what happens to me, as long as my Van Sant is finally free, for as long as old Van Sant will remember me.
I haven't played Shadowrun in 20 years. Maybe longer.
Brave causes to offer your life, and surely surrender to permanent strife. But if you feel the call and are willing to sign, you will find that you place your life down on that line. Surrender is
I snorted asbestos power in Moldavia. Nice.
a tactic we use, for our cockpits are lacking.
Hey, it is cold. Anything that helps with it, Box Tank.
Fear not the low pay or what happens to me, as long as my Van Sant is finally free, just as long as my homeland will remember me.
The Battle Pumpkin. Least Action Jackson. Mostly harmless. Raging Goblin. Fair Fight Frank. Tom Bolly. Nice. Now we're back in the 80s. Dr. Pepper. The conduit of Stitch talking about Final. AM PM. Yeah. R5D4. Bradley D. Williams. Francis Patrick. The real Hoopties are just Tennessee County. Dan. I have no idea what that says. Bob. I know, right? Hugo. Apathy Man, the Mundane. One last thing, we want you to know the Black Panther Legion brought to you by you. We grew up with good fucking shit like Mr. Rogers. People who do what they love and are supported by people who appreciate it. In short, we want to assure that we're loyal to our fan base and nobody else. We call this being honest and accountable, since we want to remind with that we do not endorse any product. We are not paid for any opinion. We will never sell you garbage or services you don't need. We are wholly supported and maintained by a fan base who's made loyal to the good times and fairly bad. We enjoy this relationship with support honestly and openly, and we feel like trying to subvert that to side hustle is really just greasy. We'd really just make art memes and shitposts and turn this into a job. We'd rather not take the relationship we share by manipulating you into buying shit that you don't need. If you think that's fucking stupid, then don't support it. You know what? I get, like, I don't know, even have a clue how many sponsorship opportunities they've had. But I know in my inbox, there's at least 2 to 3 new sponsorship opportunities that I've had this, like, today alone. And all of them have been rejected. Yeah, I'm not surprised. I get a ton, and I reject all of them. Rest assured, anything that you see, if you ever see me doing a sponsorship at any point, at any time, it's going to be something that I myself would use or do use. I have Fox Leader. Night, Caden.
Wir sind nicht in dieser Episode. Wir werden nun den Abspann aufklären. Spannend. Diese Leute werden es bereuen, den Film unterstützt zu haben.
Okay.
Well, coming back to Van Zandt wasn't the dumbest thing I've ever done. Before you judge, consider it as I do. An extended trial of position.
Warpugs. Yeah. Call that a trial all you want to. It is trying. Steiner's Scowlands. Oh my god. Warpugs. This is undoubtedly one of the better decisions I've made as far as things to check out. If you would like to determine what I'm checking out next on this, check out the Discord. I'm gonna be putting a list of specific requests for BattleTech. And we will go from there. I'll put specific requests for BattleTech, and then I'll make a poll. I will probably be doing that sometime later this week. I just got to figure out how I want to format it. Just saying. I knew people wanted to see the Marauder, so we wanted that this week. We are learning about BattleTech. Well, some of you guys know. I wonder if he met her at Discount Dan's. I mean, that's the real question. Did he meet her at Discount Dan's? And did Discount Dan officiate the wedding? Oh yeah, long form like this. Now, all that being said, is there any children they must be jacked? They must be monstrously jacked. They came out of the womb doing 20 pull-ups. Warpugs. Wow. This is fun. It is so much fun. Warpugs, we are going to keep this up. This is good fun. I am going to spend the rest of the week crying my eyes out. And until Friday, I haven't decided if I'm going to do another live stream yet this week. But this year, I've already decided that I'm going to be, Discount Dan's mail order waifus. That's a thing now, James. I've decided I'm going to be doing more live streams this year. That is just one thing I'm going to do. I've already seen the secret level. The reason that I saw secret level and I watched it offline was because I had it in my little head that as soon as I checked it out, I would get pimp smacked into like the crust of the earth by Amazon. Didn't happen. Wish I had made a different decision, but that's neither here nor there. Guys, I'm gonna take off. Thank you for spending some time with me this Tuesday. I hope you guys had a lot of fun. X in chat if you had some fun. I will catch you guys next time. Warpugs, BattleTech Tuesdays. We're back on. I'll catch you guys next time.